Greetings, heroes of Arcasia. We're here today with the next piece of the Lost Ark 2024 roadmap. With the end of the year coming up super quick and a ton of major updates in store, we're going to be taking a look at some of the details for the next few months of content. You probably know me already. I'm Roxx, the product community manager for Lost Ark here in the West, and I have my friend Henry here, who is our head of editorial and the face of Patch Notes with Henry. But today we're also joined by someone new, another team member who has been working with us on Lost Ark since actually before the release of the game and is, however, kind of a new face to all of you. So let's get to know Matthew a little bit. So Matthew's been with us on the team since the earliest days of Lost Ark in our region, and he's been kind of a guiding force behind the game as a lead producer, but now he's taking on a new role as the associate franchise lead for the game. So you want to let everyone know a little bit about yourself, intro yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Roxx. I'm Matthew. I was the live producer. I'm now taking on the new role as the associate franchise lead. Super excited to be here and talk to everybody. I have many stories of late nights beyond gate. Yeah, so I have thousands of hours in the game, both on my personal account. I have thousands of hours on my internal account, just testing internally with all the stuff that we have coming in. I main Slayer, so that's one of my 14 characters that I have.
Okay. You main Slayer for a little bit, right?
Yeah, until I cut my 9/7 on my Gladiator.
Oh, okay,
but
never mind.
No, I still love Slayer.
Yeah.
It's a fun class, man. I like it. You're Pred Slayer?
I'm Pred.
Okay, there you go. Nice.
Switched during a con.
Okay.
So it's been good.
Yeah. I love Pred on that fight just because the uptime's so solid, but I recently switched back to Punisher just to try and hit the peak numbers that I could before Tier 4 comes out, but I love both builds. It's a fun class.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as hardcore as Henry over here, but I do have time in the game. And I just want to say I'm very committed both as a player and as an employee, and I look forward to all the things we're going to be able to share with you guys today.
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Thanks, Matthew. We're super stoked to have you joining us today. Get in front of the community, introduce someone new, and to, of course, talk about the next piece of the roadmap. Regarding what you're going to see here today, our primary focus is going to cover just the next few months of content. While we will touch a little bit on what's planned for late 2024 as well, we won't be sharing a full plan through the end of the year today. And we'll be seeing you actually later this year again, think maybe around December when it's time to talk about some of those things. But with that, let's get this going. So before we dive into the next month of content, by the time you see this video, the July update will have already released, and we want to kind of touch on a couple of those important items from that update. Primarily solo raids is huge. Matthew, I know you've been kind of playing those internally right now since we're currently before the July update.
Yeah, and you guys are going to be able to see it now, but internally it felt good. Being able to log in and jump into a Legion raid solo. You don't got to wait for people. There's no spending half your night trying to pug groups. I was able to complete Clown, so I ran through that. You get to pick from a number of different buffs, and that's going to be respective to the content that you're doing. And you get to Gate 3, you do Bingo solo. So if you don't know Bingo, then you might want to start practicing now.
Oh, I know Henry will be relieved that I won't be texting you every weekend being like, can you get your friends to play with me? I'm very lonely. So I'm looking forward to that. I actually like playing with you guys.
We love teaching people. It's fun. And I mean, I think solo raids are really cool because they kind of teach you the fundamentals of Lost Ark raiding and kind of relieve the stress of trying to learn those systems. A lot of the earlier raids have like building blocks of like Vaulton, you have to learn not to get knocked off the arena. Vicus, you have to learn to manage the lustful gauge so you don't like turn and attack your teammates. And you see those play out in some of the other endgame raids that don't have solo modes yet. So you can learn those fundamentals and then be a little bit more confident when you are ready to enter a group with those endgame raids like Thamine and Echidna that don't have a solo mode. So we'll still be able to help you with those ones, Roxx. But for the rest, I think you got it now for sure.
I will need some Echidna help very soon, but more on that later. So in addition to those solo raids too, we've also done a couple things to kind of ease progression through a lot of systems, especially the Transcendence system, the Elixir system. I know there are some Theon cost reductions if you want to get into that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the way we're thinking about this summer is just trying to make it easier to progress, especially with Tier 4 coming up, to reach that, especially with the amount of resources you need for all these systems. So we cut the cost of Transcendence in half. Elixir legendary ones have been cut in half. And then we were able to pull forward the Fion reductions that came with Tier 4 in Korea to come with this update, so that if you have any gears or need to gear up a new character, you're able to do that cheaper before Tier 4 arrives. We also brought forward some of the gem rewards to help with a Tier 3 progression. And Matthew, I know you're really passionate about bringing that forward for players.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of ways to get gems, and if you do your ebony cubes, you get the gem chests. But it just allows for ways for your alts to be able to have the bound gems and be able to, as you kind of progress in the item level, you can exchange those gems at an NPC for the next tier, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a really great way to get to level 7 gems and have all your alts on the same level.
Yeah, I think it's cool too because it doesn't like punish or impact the economy for players that have already geared up their characters with gems. It's just purely helpful for new players or when you create a new character and want to try out a new play style.
Yeah, it feels good, especially you want to make a new character, but you're like, I don't have the gems, I don't have the engravings. So it's a nice feature to have.
So in addition to all these gem rewards too, there's also some changes coming with new engraving support, right?
Yeah, it's just another way for you to be able to boost your alts and be on the same page when it comes to Tier 3 getting 5x3. So I think it's a really nice feature. It's very similar to how the Super Makoko Express works with the engraving support. You get to pick your engravings. They all get maxed out to 5, and you can turn it off and on. So if you happen to have a character that has better engravings, maybe you don't want it, you turn it off, but it's permanent, and it's for all your characters, so it's not just during an event.
Yeah, that's gonna be super nice to have, again, like when you're just trying out a new character, want to jump in, not sure if you want to fully commit to a class. I think that's really awesome.
I mean, I've felt that internally. Just, you go and you do the Super Makoko Express event, you complete it, you go back to your main, the event ends, and now it's like, oh, I don't have those engravings. I got to go through and rebuild that character. Now you don't really have to worry about it for any of the T3.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So in addition to all of that, we also have some growth missions coming. There's going to be a new Voldus Power Pass. There's going to be a Super Makoko event and extra endgame clear content. So all of this should really help kind of players feel a lot more relaxed, hopefully, in their journey to Tier 4. A lot of stuff to just support general progression, growth, make sure the game feels good and like you can hop in, hop back in, hop in with a new character, however you want to play. So with all that being said and all this kind of driving us to Tier 4, let's start talking about the next few months of content. So August is going to be kind of a much lighter month in terms of content, especially compared to some of the upcoming updates. So we want you to look at this as kind of a moment of calm before the incoming storm, so to speak, where there are going to be new features and a little bit of content for you to enjoy. It's really the perfect time for you to keep making progress at your own pace, prepare for incoming Tier 4, and then we have actually some QOL updates that we'll get into a little bit later. But for now, Indigo Island is going to be kind of one of our first pieces of content, if you want to talk a little bit about that, Matt.
Yeah, so Indigo Island, at its core, it's an underwater island. There's going to be an underwater cave dungeon that you can do. It unlocks at item level 1600. There's 3 paths that you'll be able to take and kind of explore in your time in the dungeon itself. You'll be able to earn tokens, which then can be exchanged for progression materials, things like elixirs. So definitely want to be able to check that out and complete it.
Yeah, definitely. It is just kind of a new place to explore, but being able to get those elixirs is going to be a pretty valuable reward. So in addition to Indigo Island, there will also be a new Maharaka Festival event unlocking in August that's going to kind of help wrap up those summer celebrations. This is just going to be a daily quest that you can play alongside the ongoing main attraction, and you'll be able to earn some additional currency to get those rewards and really make sure you're getting the most out of those island rewards you've been earning all summer.
Yeah, Maharaka Festival is always a fun thing. It's small, but it's another piece of content to consume, so it's pretty fun.
Some fun in the sun in the summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in addition to these pieces of content, there are some new features as well we're going to introduce, like the style book. So Fashion Arc is actually still alive and well, especially with this incoming feature. It's going to allow you to upload your favorite character customizations to share with other heroes. You're going to be able to view what other players are wearing so you can kind of get inspired by their outfits. You can vote on your favorites, so if you're super into fashion, you can get some of that recognition you finally deserve, and you can even use some of the kind of outfits and customizations that you find and save them as presets for you to use later. While August might be light on what we kind of traditionally refer to as content, we are prioritizing bringing in a number of quality of life changes to the game kind of as quickly as possible. We're going to dive into some of those now, even though we don't normally talk about them during roadmap videos, because one, they're just around the corner, and two, we know you're going to be super excited to kind of hear about them once you know what we're doing. So Henry, do you want to jump into the Chaos Dungeon changes first?
Yeah, absolutely. So Chaos Dungeons are going to be getting a new weekly purification mission system. So when you're playing through Chaos Dungeons with Aura of Resonance active, you're going to be able to earn purification points. These points are going to accumulate, leading to earning new reward chests. The next one on top of that is going to be some changes to the Ebony Cube, kind of following that same vein of just easing progression and letting players hop in and clear some of these activities in the summer of fun as we lead towards Tier 4. The next system that's coming is Bound Gold, and I think Matt's going to dive into that one.
In addition to these changes to dailies, we're also going to be something that I'm excited about, introducing Bound Gold.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure we've all seen the Reddit posts, but it's going to allow you to earn additional gold from in-game activities to use in progression systems. And I want to say that it's important to note that we're still working out what that looks like for us in the West, and we want to make sure that it's uniquely fit for our version of the game.
Yeah.
So I also want to make it clear that it won't be one-to-one with what you might be seeing right now in all of the other regions, but we will have more details to share on this when we get closer to releasing it. Another exciting thing that I think is great for players right now, and we're listening to the feedback, is Echidna Raid and how we're adjusting that. Due to the quick pace of all the content we've been having recently, the normal difficulty of Echidna will also be nerfed in August. So we hope that this allows more users to clear the content and continue to progress within the game itself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. So like we said earlier, a little bit lighter on content, but we're really excited about all the quality of life changes. Like Matt said, we've been listening to a lot of the player feedback. We know sometimes you've been seeing these things, asking for them, hoping for them. So we really wanted to prioritize bringing those in as soon as possible, especially ahead of September, which is going to be a huge month.
Let's go September.
It's time to continue your story in Arcasia and head north to explore the next part of the Curzon continent. The Demon Legion and Chaos Guardians have taken over, and the revival of Kazaros seems to be imminent. Following your feats in South Curzon, Elneed has been liberated, and the allied forces have begun to gather. Here in North Curzon, the Antares volcano is turbulent. Both tensions and heat are rising. It's time to prepare yourself for the final battle of your destiny. North Curzon will be accessible to characters with an item level over 1600 who have completed the South Curzon World Quest, Kazaros Raid Overture Prologue Quest, and the Epic Behemoth Raid Prologue Quest. Here, you'll be able to experience a new Adventurer's Tome, Chaos Gate, World Boss, achievements, and much more. But more importantly, Kazaros will be closer than ever. And of course, getting to North Curzon will be bringing you to Tier 4.
So Tier 4 is going to be bringing a ton of new content and systems to Lost Ark, and I think will be the biggest endgame update and overhaul we've worked on in our 2.5 years of publishing Lost Ark. So with so many changes, there's a ton of nuance, ton of detail into how these systems unfold, and we could probably discuss for hours. So today we're going to keep it high level. We're going to talk about the highlights. No need to worry though, leading up to Tier 4's release in September, we're going to be doing deep dives into these systems so that you feel up to speed and ready to hit the ground running when Tier 4 reaches Arcasia's western shores. So once you've completed North Curzon that Roxx just talked through, you're going to be able to enter Tier 4 and unlock the Curzon Frontline and Kenuart Fortress. These are going to be two new activities that are exclusive to Tier 4. The Curzon Frontline is a new type of hack and slash content similar to Chaos Dungeons. Instead, it consumes 100 Aura of Resonance, which is how much you get every day, so you'll only need to enter it once a day. On top of that, 2 new Chaos Dungeons are going to be added at item level 1640 and 1660. On the other side, Kenuart Fortress is a new dungeon that you can challenge alone or in a 4-player party. That one is going to require item level 1620 and can be entered up to 3 times per day. The fortress lets you earn Tier 4 relic gear, ensuring a smooth transition into Tier 4. The first time you defeat a boss in the fortress each day, you're guaranteed a Tier 4 gear selection chest, and additional ones can be earned as drops in the dungeon. So you can earn those new selection chests, the new relic gear for Tier 4. You're going to be able to gear transfer your Tier 3 gear to Tier 4 and get a nice item level boost. Starting off, 1620 gear is going to go to 1640. And there's going to be a whole conversion table which we'll share as we approach Tier 4. But all of your gear is going to transfer up at a similar rate, all the way up from 1650 gear, transferring to 1680. So you're going to get a nice item level increase once that arrives. In a little bit, we'll talk about how you earn the ancient gear, but that will be coming in October. For accessories, engravings, and ability stones, it's going to work a bit differently in Tier 4 than it did in Tier 3. But you're going to be able to toggle between the systems freely, especially as you're getting up to speed and earning all that new gear. You might still want to use some of your engravings or your builds from Tier 3, just so that you can make that transition smooth with all the new overhauls coming. So let's dive into some of the specifics on how all of these systems are going to be changing a bit for Tier 4. Starting off with accessories, they're no longer going to provide engraving nodes and instead have other stat and power increases. There's going to be a new polishing system for upgrading accessories, and they can be traded before, during, or after being upgraded through that polishing system. In Tier 4, you can equip 5 combat engravings, not including your class engraving, and level them up with engraving recipes, which now, instead of enhancing the nodes of each engraving, directly impact the value that the engraving provides. Relic engraving books will also be added in Tier 4, which give the highest value increase to power up each one of those engravings. Ability stone nodes will also enhance the effect of the engraving rather than providing nodes towards filling up the max level of that engraving. And Tier 3 ability stones can be transferred to Tier 4, so if you spend a ton of time cutting a 9-7, you're going to be able to carry that over. Thank God for me. I have 2 of them currently, so very excited for that. You're going to be able to retain some of that value. That being said, you might also need to cut some new ones because they enhance those specific engravings that you're cutting towards. So if you need to enhance a new engraving with some of the changes coming in Tier 4, you're going to be able to do that and kind of min-max that new system as well. Next up, let's talk about stats. In Tier 4, key stats like crit, swift, and spec, gear set effects, class engravings, and more are going to all be added into a new system called the Arc Passive. The Arc Passive is a new way to approach building your character that comes with 3 key tabs. The basic stats are in the Evolution tab, class specialization is going to be in the Enlightenment tab, and awakening skills, along with Hyper Awakening, is going to be in the Ascension tab. So in each tab, you're going to be able to upgrade all of these effects that are coming in by connecting the nodes in the UI that resembles kind of a new form of a skill tree. The first 2 tabs that we talked about, the skills and the class enhancement stuff, are going to be arriving in September with Tier 4, and then the Ascension tab will release alongside the Hyper Awakenings, which we'll cover a little bit later in the roadmap. I think the Arc Passive system is a really cool way to overhaul how you build out your character. The UI looks great. I'm really excited for this to come, and I think it'll be a fun way to build your character out in the new era of Lost Ark's endgame. I think it'll be really cool, and looking forward to getting our hands on that in September. To wrap it up, we have some additional kind of key changes that are coming for Tier 4. I'm going to rapid fire through these. The combat level is going to be raised from 60 to 70. Roster level is going to go from 300 to 400. There's going to be new Tier 4 gems, which also include attack power increase and other effects, especially some special effects for support characters on those damage gems. So those are going to be of added value. There's a new Ebony Cube, new Guardian, and a ton more. As I said when we started this section, a lot of nuances, a lot of specifics. We know it's a lot to digest. And once again, we're going to cover these in deep dives as we head towards Tier 4 in September. Today, we just wanted to give you a timeline of when this was coming out, give you a bit of an overview, but we're super excited to dive into it with all of you as we head toward.
It's going to be, I think you said earlier, the probably biggest endgame update we've done ever. So that's going to be a lot of fun, but there's a lot coming your way.
Super exciting.
Yeah. I love min-maxing all the Lost Ark systems, so I'm excited to like have like a relearn experience and get to
something
go through
new,
all this.
fresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
Absolutely.
gonna feel very fresh, especially like you were talking about earlier with the arc passive and all those changes to engravings and just the whole way you're gonna be able to build everything. It's gonna be really interesting to see what players do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all the new Tier 4 gear coming in, there's also going to be new Tier 4 honing materials, of course. You're going to be able to earn some of those through the dungeons we just talked through. But another key vector to earn those is going to be the 16-player Behemoth raid that is releasing. Yeah, a lot of players. It's going to be mayhem, madness. You're going to be fighting against the enormous Behemoth dragon, one of the biggest guardians in the game, biggest bosses
Wailing on the wings.
in the game. So alongside the Tier 4 materials that's going to drop, you're also going to earn weapon transcendence materials for all, if you're victorious against Behemoth. And also, this raid is going to introduce something that we haven't seen for a while, which is revives in a raid. I think last time we had that was Argos, which is crazy to think about.
Wow.
A long time ago.
Yeah, many years ago at this point. So you're going to have a limited pool of revives available and get to prepare for some group chaos as you work together to fell this enormous dragon. It's going to require item level 1640 to get in there and face. So with Tier 4 gear giving you 20 item levels, it's going to be an entry point raid and also pretty easy to hop into from Tier 3. Obviously Tier 3, we have activities that go all the way up to 1630 now with Echidna and Thamine. So a lot of players are going to be able to hop in this with that gear transfer, go 1620, 1640, and get in ready to fight this new dragon.
Yeah, I know I personally am really excited to be able to jail 15 players at a time instead of 7. So.
Henry, please help.
No,
We'll see how fast you can chew through the revives.
Yeah. No, that's I'm gonna speed run it. No, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to kind of see players come together in this kind of massive type of raid and just watch to see what they do. Like you said, mayhem and madness.
It's cool too because like Echidna is obviously very mechanical. You have to manage your charm stacks, and then this one you're just all in there getting to kind of wail on a boss together. It's going to be fun competing for MVP against that many players and whatnot. It'll be cool. Excited for a big raid that's fun and not as mechanically demanding, but we'll have some more, I think, crazy raids coming up that we get to talk about in the coming months as well.
So with all of this super exciting new stuff coming in with Tier 4, if only there was a way for players to express themselves all the way there. Maybe there is. Matthew, do you want to get into that?
So Express servers, very similar to what we had with Jumpstart. Everyone really enjoyed that. And it's another special limited time world that you're going to be able to progress quickly with various progression events and material honing boosts. For Lost Ark veterans, you might be asking, how does this compare to what we had in Jumpstart? So let's do a quick comparison for those not aware of Jumpstart servers. They were also a limited time event where players were able to start over with a fresh server and everyone was on the same page with large boosts to vertical content. And if we want to compare the two side by side, we can say that we're going to be able to maintain the matchmaking isolation from the existing worlds. We are not going to be doing any sort of market isolation with the Express servers like we did with Jumpstart. We're going to be maintaining the vertical progression boosts. So that's the whole point of Express, right? You want to be able to get up there fast. And then with Jumpstart, we did not have any sort of horizontal progression boost. So now that we have the Arkesia Tour, makes it very easy to boost yourself horizontally. So that will be something that will be included with Express Worlds. So I think the two horizontal vertical progressions are going to be a nice addition with Express.
Yeah, I think this is super cool. Obviously, the July update had a ton of progression updates for players. And I think this is a really good time, for someone to kind of join in and try Lost Ark out. We took a lot of learnings that we had from Express servers and, how to just improve the core experience, and super excited for what joining Lost Ark means for either a new player or someone that hasn't played for a while. And with all of these boosts, we think that, and solo raids as well, be able to kind of learn the game at an effective way and also get boosted up to either play with friends or join kind of that larger pool of players that are moving towards Tier 4.
Yeah, everything we're talking about today, like touching on guide missions, right? Like all of that's going to be in Express, and it should be a very comfortable way for a new player to get into the game and figure out what Lost Ark is.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said too, one of my favorite parts as well is that we now have that Arcasia Tour event too. One of the big pieces of feedback we got around Jumpstart servers was obviously there's a lot of kind of horizontal content and challenges with that. So I think this provides like a really unique and simple way to kind of solve that. Definitely emphasis on the Express in these ones, and we're super stoked to see players come back and try those out.
I mean, Arcasia Tour hits me here. I spent a lot of time grinding those out, and now you can kind of just get in and complete it. But I think it's great for new players, and it allows them to catch up quick. At my core.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. So that's not all, though, that's coming in September. We have a couple more surprises in store. Matthew.
So another thing that we're introducing in September is going to be Yaz's Jar Season 3. We know that you have been clamoring for this new season of Legendary Skins, so we really hope that you enjoy entering Tier 4 with your legendary new styles.
Yeah, there's some really good ones in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm super excited to pick up a few of those.
Oh, yeah. Which classes are you going to pick them up on? No, I said classes, plural, because I know you.
Probably the main 6, if we're being honest.
Okay.
You know, yeah, all the gold earners will get the new legendary skins for sure.
All right. So September is also going to include the release of our next Arc Pass to help you make the most out of all of your gameplay. That's just always something that's really good whenever we put it out there. So you'll be playing through Tier 4, playing through all this new content, playing through all these progression systems, and you'll just have that kind of perk of having an Arc Pass ongoing at the same time to get even more rewards that you can look forward to.
So in October, it's going to be the Kazaros Aegir raid. This 2-gate Kazaros raid is going to require players to face off against some dangerous threats, with a Khan returning for Gate 1, and Aegir being your opponent in the 2nd gate. The Aegir raid is going to introduce Tier 4 Ancient Gear, which can be honed further than Relic Gear. So once this comes out, players are going to be able to hone up and get that new gear. The fights look super cool, and I think it'll be fun.
And with that, with all the content coming, this isn't really a piece of content, but we did want to remind players that in October, alongside the actual update, the Thamine the First difficulty will be removed. So if you want to clear this challenge with your group and earn that Eclipse title, Abyss Grugok mount, make sure to take it on before it disappears.
So while Aegir is definitely the big focus for October, we're still going to have that regular monthly update that we do with things like the store refreshes, cosmetics, the Thamine the First going away. But that leads us into November, where we have some pretty big pieces of content arriving, especially with the new Hyper Awakening system. I'm super excited for this. We saw some of the showcase for that come out in Korea already, and the skills look freaking awesome. So we're going to be getting that system in November, with new Hyper Awakening skills that can be used with a whole separate key. The impact will be kind of between basic skills and awakening skills in terms of balance, and the skills can be acquired as rewards after clearing quests and strengthened by fulfilling a ton of different conditions. This is also going to release that other tab of the Arc passive system that we talked about earlier, where there's going to be a skill tree and a ton of ways to power up these new skills. I'm super pumped. They looked so cool visually, like did a really good job of enhancing some of those awakenings. So super excited.
Appreciate for a second, like adding all those new skills, all that animation. That's a lot, and it's really awesome to see.
And I mean, balancing them too to kind of have their own
work
niche.
with the classes.
I'm really excited to see how that kind of changes the gameplay.
Yeah. It's cool too, because like we have the balance updates, which kind of breathe some fresh life and rework some of the older classes, but it's cool to see this happening for every class in the game at the same time.
Right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So there'll be a ton in there for every player to experience with, you know, their whole roster. If you have multiple characters, there's a ton to experience, a lot of stuff to check out, so it'll be really sweet. So while Hyper Awakenings and the new Arc passive tab are going to be a huge focus for November, we're going to have a few other kind of fun change of pace stuff coming in as well. Matthew, I know you're a huge horizontal fan, so you want to tell us a little bit about some of that?
Yeah, so we got Buzzing Island, which is a new adventure island. It's going to be honeybee themed, so for all you busy bees, you'll be able to take on a new adventure and a new quest. It should be fun.
Yeah, I know you're a huge fan of horizontal content.
I'll be there.
So this is for you. You'll be there?
I'll be there.
Awesome.
Matthew, you're supposed to help me overpower Roxx's puns, not
Absolutely
like
not.
join the dark side. Come on, man.
It's pretty funny, pretty funny.
Great. So in addition to Buzzling Island, we're also going to have some new pet abilities. All pets will have these abilities randomly granted, and they'll assist you in different areas of the game, such as your stronghold, trade skilling, dispatches, and in crafting. You'll actually have to send your pet to the crime watch in your stronghold in order to use these abilities. And of course, you'll be able to re-roll them by sending your pets to training so that you can make sure your Fido or your Fluffy or your Roxx bird is the best companion it can be. I still use my Roxx bird. Don't look at me like that.
Okay.
I know you didn't pick Roxx bird, but we're not going to talk about that. But overall, I think this will be really cool. It's just another way to kind of help you through some of these activities and get to use your cute little pets to do it. So why not?
As you can see, there's tons of stuff we've been able to share today, and it's really exciting to be able to showcase some of this stuff, and I really hope we can continue that and showcase more in the upcoming months. And I do want to take a moment to let you know that we do take player sentiment very seriously. We do appreciate all of the feedback that is coming in right now via socials and Reddit, and everyone here, though you don't see them, both on the AG side and in this room, as well on the Smilegate RPG side, are committed to Lost Ark in the West, as well as its success.
Yeah, you know, I think it was really important for us to touch on that. We've been able to bring kind of a lot of things into this roadmap and really have it shaped by a lot of the feedback we've been getting lately, so we really do appreciate it. Before we head out though, we do have a community question for you. What piece of content in this roadmap are you most excited for? I know normally we just kind of focus in on specific game content, but this time we have all sorts of things like quality of life updates, certain aspects of Tier 4. So we really want to see what you're looking forward to, get into those nitty gritty details and let us know in the comments. What about you guys? What are you most excited for?
I think for me,
Buzzling Island?
Buzzing Island, yeah, obviously, any island horizontal stuff, that's not me. I think Express Servers is going to be a good one. Just getting new players in, a fresh feel, being able to boost. You got the horizontal, you got the vertical. The whole point of Lost Ark is to feel that power increase, right? So I think it's going to feel good.
It's hard for me to say just like one. I'm so excited for Tier 4 as like a whole concept. Obviously the raids look super exciting with A-Gear and Behemoth and whatnot. But I think I'm just excited to like dive into the weeds and figure out how to optimize all my characters with the new systems.
Absolutely.
Dive in with the Arc passives.
Min-max.
So, yeah, 100%.
You will.
I'll say Arc passive as part of the Tier 4 upgrade is probably what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously that's massively encompassing. So if I had to pick something, and something different, I guess, since you took all of Tier 4. No, I am really, really excited for the Hyper Awakening skills. Like we talked about earlier, it's gonna be really cool to see all of those come into play at once with all those new classes. I'm really excited about how they look and the new animations and stuff. My brother is an animator, so I've always been like really into like seeing how those things come together and how they look. I'm really big on that. So I'm stoked to see those come into the game and play around with them. Awesome. So like we said, we want to hear what you're most excited for in the comments. And as always, please be sure to like, subscribe, let us know what you thought so we can keep making these videos for you. Keep having Matthew come hang out with us on camera maybe and get him out from behind the scenes. But yeah, as always, thank you for joining us and we'll see you back in Arcasia.
Thank you.